Last season, after an 0-2 start, the Reiver football team dug deep and found out who wanted to be a team and who was all about themselves. This year's squad hasn't had to do that. They've avoided finger pointing and stuck together through 2 tight games. Week 3 sent the Reivers on the road again, this time to Fort Scott and the home of the Greyhounds. The 2016 edition of Reiver football looking for win number 1. Would they get it, or would a repeat of the inaugural season rear its ugly head? We're about to see. The Iowa Western Football Coaches Show is coming up with highlights and more. The Coach Stroh Show is right here, only on CBTV 17. From the studios of CBTV 17 at Iowa Western in Council Bluffs, welcome again to the Coach Stroh Show. We are in week number 3 as we look back on the Reivers' trip to Fort Scott, Kansas. Jake Ryan joined, as always, by the head coach, Scott Strohmeyer. Coach, another weekend spent on the road. This time you travel to Fort Scott, Kansas. You've been through some battles, and you are identically 0-2 as you were last year. Are you finding that this team is a little bit different than last year? Obviously, you didn't have a chance to work through some kinks early on, and you had some bad elements, but then 10 games in a row you win after that struggling start. Are you finding out that this year's team is more of a team instead of more of a bunch of guys that are out there just for themselves?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we got some good leadership, some guys on defense that have been around and been through last season and didn't want, they understand that the better the team does, the better opportunities they get. So I've been pretty impressed with the whole group. There's times where there could be some finger pointing, and there hasn't been. At least we haven't seen it, and it hasn't really affected us. And I think some of the guys maybe on offense are holding themselves a little bit more accountable too. So hopefully we can continue to turn it around, but so far I've been pleased.
Well, obviously the Reivers figured it out last season. They really worked as a team to reel off 10 straight victories. Let's see what they could do in week number 3 as the Reivers win the opening coin toss and defer. They will let Fort Scott go on the offensive at first, and the highlights show you that as the Reiver captains are shaking hands with the Fort Scott captains. And pretty good field, not natural grass the last time you guys went to Fort Scott.
I'll tell you, it was a lot better. There's no big crown and obviously good playing conditions.
So the Reivers will start defensively on a good stop, and then they'll force a quick 3 and out. And here comes Iowa Western. A quick out to Nick Easley, and that seems to be Nick Easley on the side is a pretty good way to go this year.
Yeah, Nick's been playing pretty well, and we really wanted to kind of get him in the flow, get our offense in clicking with some of those short pass games.
And that right there was a sign of things to come as Nathan Rourke really kind of scrambled out of trouble. Reivers get it, a couple runs, and then you forced to punt it away again. A little slow going. Were you just feeling out what the Greyhounds were going to do defensively?
Yeah, I mean, we got to get something offensively that start a little bit sooner. We can't go 2 series or 3 series and then give it right back to them.
Anthony McGriff, good catch, tries the spin move over there. Must have hit circle on the controller as he picks up a couple more yards.
We gave him a hard time in film studies that he's just got to take that thing and get vertical. But
Andre, instead of throwing an ill-advised pass, just eating that one, quarterback sack, and then a lot of false starts by the wide receivers of Fort Scott on Saturday.
Yeah, they did, and I think some of that comes from when you try to play fast and change plays and things like that. It really put us, anytime our defense, they're sitting in longer yard situations, we're pretty good.
Called number 91's name a lot, Lewis Brown out of Burton, Texas. Nice job on Saturday.
Yeah, Lewis is playing really well, and this was a huge deal. We're trying to get a spark from a special teams, and Marquise Hallback gets a nice block.
Yeah, McKelty Williams trying to chase it down for the touchdown, just couldn't get there. And then a nice run by Lorenzo Pratt down the sideline.
Yeah, we were hoping to get him going a little bit more. Kind of a new play that we put in this week. Tried a little trickery here, and it's one of those deals. You call this play, and they're in their base defense. We probably score a touchdown, and they call the perfect blitz into it.
And again, they will use a trio of backs on the day, and not a single one of them really got going, although Johnny Hankins, number one, we'll see it in the third quarter, kind of got going toward the back end of the game.
Yeah, you know, and on film coming into it, he's a pretty darn good player.
Nice job there on the catch by Clay Brooks, their wide receiver, and another good toss by Nate Rourke. And they're threatening, and then Rourke is forced to scramble. And, well, guess what? Van Ginkel almost gets him, and then he chucks it into the end zone. Guess who's there? Hakeem Bailey playing center field a couple times this game.
I tell you what, that's huge. You know, we were looking for a spark, and that's what happens when you got a quarterback that runs around like that. You got to be careful. The bad things can happen. Speaking
of quarterbacks that run around, there's A.J. Bush to DeAnthony, and he pushes up the line, gets back to the hash mark, and a good gain there by DeAnthony from the arm of A.J.
Yeah, you know, and we want to get something going, get some first downs. We're back-to-back here, you know, first downs, which is good. A.J. kind of giving us a little bit of a spark.
First game under the lights for the Reivers this season, and, well, it seemed like in the second quarter that the lights were shining a little bit brighter, although they stall out on that near completion to Kadeem Goldwarn.
Yeah, you know, and we kind of stress we need to go up and make some of those catches, and we're going to stress it a lot this week because we're putting them in position. The defense gets a huge turnover, kind of give us maybe a spark, and that was really the theme.
Opportunity you didn't have last week when the ball was put on the turf by the opponent. You couldn't get on top of it. 3 times this game you do.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, we get ourselves in position. This has to be, you know, we got to score on these plays when we're down here, but like I said, the defense has given us good field position.
Thought A.J. was going to rush it in there. He tries for the goal line here and gets pushed back. And then, well, again, continuing to go for it. What's the call here?
Well, we got a little sprint out pass. We're trying to sneak the running back into the flat, and they covered him up. We went over the top. Again, one in our hands that we could have had, and decided to go for it on fourth down. We kind of bobbled the snap and ended up not coming out of there with any points. But the way our defense is playing, if we can keep them backed up, you know, I feel pretty good.
Rourke scrambling for his life again, and then he throws it down the field. And again, one of several occasions that he was able to buy time and find somebody downfield.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's tough because you're right there, and if you miss him, he keeps the plays alive. He does a heck of a job.
One of his favorite receivers, Chris Claybrooks, and then another QB sack for the Reivers. I figured it should have been about 20 or so on the dime.
Yeah, and that's what happens when, I mean, you lose chunks and chunks of yardage. He gains some, but he's also losing some chunks. That kid took more shots in the first 3 games that I've seen than any quarterback around.
Daniel Ezegwu with the interception, a hold against the offense, so the Reivers forcing yet another turnover.
I'll tell you what, I mean, now this is where offensively we got to make teams pay, you know, once they turn it over and A.J. gets running free. I thought he almost had a chance to break that one.
Yeah, he, again with the read option, pulling it back from Lorenzo Pratt, and then again he'll run it this time up the middle, and he gets some good blocks, gets to the outside, nice tackle there on the leg.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, he is a good runner. We got to get him now where we're utilizing him in a lot of different other ways, throwing the football.
Dump off to Marquise Hallback as you're getting closer and closer to the goal line. Problem is, the clock is ticking down, and some of those timeouts have already been burned. A.J. nearly loses his balance, keeps it, but kind of slowed himself down enough for the defense to catch up with him.
And that one there was the one. You know, there's 18 seconds left, and you know we got to throw the football away and try to get a field goal. I was going to kick it on third down, and decided to give one more shot, and we don't get it. So we come out of it no points. Those are the things that we got to do better offensively. In 2 games now, we've been down there and haven't been able to score.
Well, here's a quick question. Earlier, you threw a pass to the end zone, and they let the play continue. And then they said, well, Andre stepped out of bounds, or A.J. stepped out of bounds way back here. So shouldn't the clock have stopped there?
Yeah, they should have put more time on the clock. I looked at it. I want to say there was probably about 8 seconds that we should have had on the clock still, but. You know, I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, another low-scoring affair in week number 3. The good news, the Reivers got the 2 on a safety instead of giving it up. We'll check out the second half highlights. When we come back, more of the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show is on the way. You are watching it right here on CBTV 17.
For more than a quarter century, thousands of Southwest Iowa athletes have relied on this team, Jenny Ed Sports Med. Their sole focus is to prevent, diagnose, and treat your sports injury. They even partner with the surgeons at Ortho West, ensuring you get your own exclusive roadmap back to action. Methodist Jenny Ed Sports Med invites all Southwest Iowa athletes to its free walk-in clinic, open every Saturday morning, August through October. Jenny Ed Sports Med.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
From the studios of CBTV 17 in Council Bluffs, Jake Ryan along with Iowa Western head football coach Scott Stroh. Coach, 2-0 into the half, but as we saw and we discussed briefly, you could have had a field goal attempt, and it was a chip shot for Bobby Patterson if you only had some timeouts in the back pocket there. But they were all burned. Obviously, it's week number 3, so at what point do you stop burning the early timeouts? You know, the guys are still getting into the flow of things 2 weeks ago. And now here it is week 3, and you're still forced to use those. What do you do?
Well, I was disappointed in 2 of them. They shouldn't have been. I mean, we had to use them on offense because of just an alignment. And those are things that we work every single day in practice, that formation, that play, that motion. So we got to get it in, and the kids got to execute it right away. And so we don't have to burn one of those timeouts to save it towards the end. But, so we didn't have any. We do work the Mayday, which we try to run the field goal unit on. We were hoping that the clock would have been stopped with throwing the football away, but we didn't get a chance. We got to do a better job there because we've been in the red zone. We got stuffed on 4th and 1. We need a touchdown there. We needed really a touchdown on that last drive too, and that's really the difference offensively so far. All
right, as it is, it's 2-0. Let's take a look at the second half highlights as the Reivers are up by 2, just like they were in week 2 at Hutchinson, and here they come out of the tunnel. And again, we talked about the fact that it's a turf field now, or Reiver Field. That had to be a sigh of relief when you walked into the stadium.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we played out there a couple years ago, and that wasn't good. Not a way we want to get going in the second half here. But
Andre Nunez pump fake, and then he has the ball jarred loose. Fort Scott takes over, and then again, it's a bend but don't break kind of attitude that the Reivers have, and the dark side coming through again. How about a field goal attempt, and how about a block again? Nice job by Shaq Jones and the Reivers.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I mean, to have their back against the wall and to come out and then to give them no points on a 2-0 ball game, that's huge.
And I gave Shaq credit for that. That was Russell Jones that had the block. Shaq will make his plays coming up. Big play downfield, and if only Anthony could have stayed on his feet, that would have been a TD, but a nice long pass and catch. And then a field goal attempt for the Reivers, and Bobby Patterson is true on this one.
I mean, that's been the way it's been going so far. I mean, it should have been a 70-yard touchdown pass. Instead, we trip up and we've got to settle for 3. So you're still not even a touchdown ahead. And but until we get those things going, we'll take the points.
Johnny Hankins stopped, forcing the punt, and Andre Nunez, obviously the knee feeling a little bit better on that run.
Yeah, and that was, we kind of really attacked him there. Throughout the game, we were trying to attack him with that quarterback run to the weak side.
Hard pump fake there by Andre, another run, and then, heck, why not? 3rd time's a charm for Andre Nunez from the 45, and he'll run it upfield yet again.
Well, again, anytime you can be moving the chains, and we're getting 8 to 10 yards of crack with a quarterback, and then what a nice job Austin Arndt right there on the block to kind of spring Nick Easley for a touchdown. And Austin didn't play in the first half, and that's on us. That's on me. We got to get him in there because he's really, he's a competitor and just wants to help the team win.
Austin there, along with Anthony Turner, who sealed the other side, and Nick. I mean, that was pretty much set up by Andre's running. They were biting on the fakes, and Nick Easley with a good run there. And I said on the broadcast, he wasn't short that time. Finally comes up with a TD.
Exactly. We needed that. Those are the ones you need from 30 yards out. We can't be just settling, getting down inside the 5 and then stalling out in the red zone.
Lewis Brown chasing down Nate Rourke there, and then Nate again scrambling. He was very good in the backfield at just moving it one way and getting the guys to bite. I thought he stepped out of bounds there, but a fantastic pass down the field and another huge gain on what should have been a Reiver stop.
Yeah, he just keeps plays alive. You got to give the kid credit. I tried finding him after the game, but he might have been getting his ice for his body, those shots that he took.
Chris Claybrooks with the touchdown catch, and the deficit sliced by Fort Scott. They get the football back again, but then Rourke puts it on the ground, and the Reivers come up with a big one as they scramble and scramble. Joe Ricker finally coming out of the pile with the football.
Again, you create plays, you got to live with some of those. That's going to happen when he's just running around and getting negative yardage, sacks, and things like that. But this is big. We get a free play, and this is what we've been looking for: someone that can go up and get the ball and make a play, and kind of really gave us the lead there.
Well, when you're 6'5" and you can go up and get it, that's certainly what Anthony Turner did. First touchdown as a Reiver, and then those little pooch kicks work pretty good, and they nearly drop another one.
Yeah, and Mason does a good job with that and putting us in position. Unfortunately, we didn't get that one, but again, you don't give them a chance to return it.
Joe Ricker and Luke Warden in on that tackle of Johnny Hankins. And then a punt by Brody Southwell. Hakeem Bailey, nice return for the Reivers into Fort Scott territory.
Well, and that's really the big thing. We have to get them guys to catch the punts, and here we go. I mean, this is where offensively we got to be able to put some drives together and put some people away.
Austin Arendt making the catch up the sideline, moving the football, but not enough. You're forced to kick it again. And then Nate Rourke, this time he's not getting away, hanging on, but then Royal Silver afterwards pushing him down and draws the flag.
Yeah, I don't think in Royal, I don't think he has that that mentality that it was cheap. He was just playing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see. I had looked down after he had stepped out. I didn't see Royal push him down. So watching the replay now here on the show, it doesn't look that terrible. Again, buying time, finding another man downfield. Chris Claybrooks was pretty good at that, is finding that second effort.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. And here we burnt the timeout to settle our D down a little bit just because we're getting tired, we're getting beat up, and then you get a big play.
Yeah, Luke Warden pancaking Rourke back past the 20, and then, well, Rourke trying too much again, and the center fielder Hakeem Bailey making the easy can of corn his second INT of the game.
Tell you what, he's been playing well, and I think when you put pressure on a quarterback and get some hits on him, he's going to make some throws like that.
Hankins again, strong running in the second half, really just lowering the helmet and pushing forward. And then Rourke again into trouble, and then he gets out of trouble on the scramble, gets down the sideline, and picks up a good chunk of yardage.
Yeah, they cut Tyler, I think, and Tyler kind of got banged up, Horseman, so we ended up losing him the rest of the time. But I tell you what, it could have been a holding potentially there. I think defensively, again, they get a big play when we need it.
There's Shaq Jones coming up with the QB sack. Nice job. Gets the high fives from his teammates. And then he and Russell Jones go up in the air. And then how about this? Tip ball to Ish Cisse. First time we've called his name this season. And he, just pick six. No big deal. And that'll cap it. You guys put the 25 on the board. And the 26th game appropriately ends on a quarterback sack. I thought that was really kind of put the stamp on the way that game went. 7 turnovers that you guys get, including the 2 interceptions by Hakeem Bailey, the pick 6. I mean, it was just a fantastic game overall. Andre Nunez had a solid game as well.
Yeah, and any time you get 7 turnovers, hopefully we win more than 25-7. But, again,
we'll give you 26-7.
26-7. I'm sorry, but I mean that's kind of the first win sometimes is the hardest one to get. So we got it. Hopefully now offensively we can take advantage of some of those turnovers or all of them and really be able to put some people away. But defensively we're playing well. Offensively it's coming. We just got to make some better decisions down the stretch.
How big was the bus drive back compared to how it's been before? I mean, you get that sigh of relief on that first win. Finally, we're over the hump. I mean, the guys had to be feeling pretty good about it.
They were, and I tell you what, I mean, it didn't seem like that long of a drive, and it was shorter, obviously, but it didn't seem like it took that long because, like I said, you did win, and you're feeling good about yourself.
Yeah, the hamburger tastes like steak when it's all said and done. Finally, win number 1 on the board for the Reivers. Coming up next, another chance to drift toward the dark side. The Reivers' high-powered defensive unit continues to shine, and the lone returner on that side of the ball joins us next. Sophomore Shaq Jones was the only starter in 2015. He's in the hot seat when we come back. This is the Coach Stroh Show on CBTV 17.
In today's world, getting things done means being connected. The challenge, though, is staying connected, no matter where you are. In Council Bluffs, we had a nutty idea. What if we tried to connect everyone in our community for free? How great would it be if we could always communicate, stay creative, and enjoy the things that make us unique together? Just think of all the opportunities to learn new things, find new friends, and do it all in the blink of an eye. Introducing Blink, Bluffs Community Wi-Fi. It's free, and it's coming to your neighborhood soon. Learn more at blinkwifi.org.
Your future is here at CBTV. You're in the game. You take the shots. It's your story. The Media Studies program at Iowa Western. Real reality TV starring you. For more information, go to iwcc.edu.
Here's your check. Oh! You got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
The Coach Stroh Show continues here on CBTV 17. I'm IDub TV student Joel Divick, along with Reiver sophomore linebacker number 7, Shaq Jones. Shaq, it's a pleasure to have you on the show this week.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you've been on 3 straight road trips. One was technically a home game up in Grand Junction, but you come home for your first game at Lewis Central this week. What's it like to be preparing for a home game for the first time this year?
You know, it feels good to be in front of our fans, but you know, at the same time, we still have to stay focused on the game itself. You know what I mean? Not get distracted by the outside sources. Maybe we have friends in the crowd. You never know. Players want to impress girls or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
You still want to stay focused in front of the fans.
Absolutely. Now, you're in your second year here, and you're also a captain this year, looking to lead the dark side defense. Doing a pretty good job of it this year. What kind of player are you trying to be on the field, and what kind of leader are you trying to be this year?
I want to lead by example. You know what I mean? Stay vocal. You know what I mean? Just work hard, and then hopefully my players or my teammates, you know what I mean, would follow suit.
Absolutely. Now, got your first win this year. It was, 2 years in a row losing the first 2 games.
Yep,
It's kind of rough, but you came out against a Fort Scott side, which, took Butler, who you're going to end up playing this week, down to the wire, and you really just dominated them out there. What was it like to get the first W in the win column?
It was really good. Each week, I know we started off with a pretty good defensive performance versus Arizona Western, but each week we just strive to get better and get better. And like you said, we dominated Fort Scott, but it's always things we can improve on and get better, so the sky is always the limit.
Absolutely. Now, coming to town they're now ranked number 2, the Butler Grizzlies. You guys kind of have a bit of a rivalry with them. You've beaten them in a couple bowl games the last few years. What's that atmosphere going to be like, and what are you going to be trying to prove against such a good team?
Our first 2 games we lost, some pretty close games, you know what I mean? So now that we got to win and we play them there number 2, I don't know if we're ranked or not right now, but we come to make a statement, you know what I mean, that we should be a top 5 team, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So hopefully with this win we'll gain recognition and we deserve our respect.
Absolutely. Now, one thing that people should know about you is you're an East Coast guy. You come from Philadelphia.
Yes, sir.
If I were to go to Philadelphia, where's the best Philly that I should get? Or what's the best Philly I should get, I should say?
Probably D'Alessandro Steaks. It's
Really?
a small, I think, family-owned business. But, they take care of their customers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good steaks, good quality steaks.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for having you on the show this week, Shaq. We look to see you get in the backfield, get a few more sacks,
Yes, sir.
fumble recoveries, and interceptions.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
After the break, Jake Ryan and the coach are back to talk about the Reivers and this week's home opener against the second-ranked Grizzlies of Butler. I'm Joel Divick. The Stroh Show will be right back.
Okay, it's decision time. I want flexibility, more doing, hands-on experience, and working sooner. I gotta make a choice. I want to get started, now. Find your path at iwcc.edu and get hands-on real-world experience. Start now at Iowa Western.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Can you feel the sun?
Back in the studios of CBTV 17 here in Council Bluffs as we close out this week's edition of the Coach Stroh Show. Jake Ryan along with head coach Scott Strohmeyer. As now you get the second-ranked team in the country. Here come those Butler Grizzlies for the second time ever at Titan Stadium. You own a 3-1 all-time lead against them. We know that doesn't affect from year to year, but it's a nice mark to have. What's it going to take to get win number 4 on the board against Butler?
Well, I mean, I tell you what a good opportunity. You know, we had the first 2 games where we feel we could have won both of them, and we'd be sitting in that position, which with a top 5 matchup probably. Yeah. But we didn't get it done, and they have taken care of business. And I told our guys, you know, I mean, now we got an opportunity to bring number 2 back, bring number 2 to our place and play them on our home field. And I mean, just an unbelievable opportunity. If we can't get up and have a good week of practice for this one, I don't know if we ever will. So I'm excited. I mean, I know they're well coached, and it's going to be, they're good, they're physical. We're going to have a work cut out for us for sure, but I think our kids will be ready.
Also First Responders Day, as we invite all the police and the firefighters, EMTs to come on out, bring their families, and come out and catch a Reiver game on us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first of all, just all, you know, hopefully they all can come, or as many kin as possible, and let's try to fill the stands and appreciate them, and then also show them hopefully a good football game.
Yeah, hopefully it will be a barn burner, and hopefully the Reivers end up on top. The Reivers looking to even things up on Saturday against the number 2 Grizzlies of Butler. Come on out to root on the Reivers as the first free tailgate of the year, set for just after 11 a.m. If you plan on parking in the Reivers Tailgate Village, make sure you bring $5 to donate to Reivers Softball for those prime spots. First Responders Day, as we mentioned, we invite all police, firefighters, EMTs to bring their family, come out to the ball game, free admission with your badge or credential as a thank you for everything that you do in our community to keep us safe. Game time, 1 o'clock. We'll have the pregame on 89.7 The River at 12. The broadcast on NJCAA TV starts about 10 minutes before the opening kickoff. Highlights and more, you can catch them on the Bluff Sports Zone. Get the schedule at cbtv17.com. Thanks again to Reiver football head coach Scott Strohmeyer and Reiver linebacker Shaq Jones for stopping by to be on the show today. For the students of the IWCC Sports Media Program and for IWTV student Joel Dievik, I'm Jake Ryan. We'll see you on Saturday at the stadium as the Reivers host number 2 Butler. Wear your blue, be loud, and go Reivers.